Hi, Katie here with the astrology for the week beginning 27th of April. So we're just coming out of the new moon in Taurus at the end of last week, and that brought about a shift into the earth element. So it was a really good time to get grounded, go out into nature, get some sunlight and really get grounded where you are. The moon has now moved into Gemini, and you can see the first sliver of the new moon in the sky. So this is a really good time to begin things, start new projects, or launch things from now up until the full moon, because the energies are growing and building. So it's a great time to start things. So what we now have is a Sun-Uranus conjunction in early Taurus. Now, the sun is a luminary, the sun illuminates whatever planet it touches. So it's illuminating all that is represented by Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Uranus is the great awakener. It's the planet of sudden change and lightning inspiration, a really ethereal, high vibration, spiritual energy. So what happens when this planet is in the fixed earth of Taurus? Well, it really starts to plow up the earth and create big changes in our physical world, in the 3D world actually. So all the changes that have been going on around us are really taking root in the earth element now. So obviously we've had a lot of changes all over the world. We've had many restrictions put in place, restrictions on our freedom. And now that the sun is conjuncting Uranus, it's illuminating the situation that we find ourselves in, the changes that have happened in our physical world, the world around us. And it's activating these new changes. So what does that mean? Well, there are the changes that are coming about in terms of restrictions to our freedom and the further restrictions which may be planned. But there's also the changes from all the light workers, starseeds, way showers, wisdom keepers all over the world who are really bringing down our spiritual energy and our spiritual light into the earth element. So this is how I see Uranus in Taurus. It's a time for waking up and awakening in the earth, and people who are still locked into 3D will get their awakening, because it's a time for waking up. Everything is quickening, accelerating. And Uranus in Taurus I really see as the new earth. So many of us are here with our own divine blueprint and our own templates for what we have to bring to the new earth. And this is now being brought down into the physical, down into our bodies, down into our daily lives and the world, and we're activating it. So I think it's an incredibly powerful time of change. With this Sun-Uranus conjunction, maybe take some time to really tune in to your purpose, or tune in even more and receive those inspirations about what you're here to do and what you can offer, so that we can make sure that the overriding changes are positive for all of humanity. So that's a very powerful aspect happening at the moment. The moon is in late Gemini and the moon is waxing. So the moon in Gemini is all about communication. It brings communication into focus, and it's also coming into conjunction with the North Node, which has shifted into Gemini. The North Node represents the collective soul challenge. So it's where the collective needs to come more into balance. And in Gemini, this means that the way we share information has to become more balanced and more full of integrity. Of course, many people use social media as one of the main forms of communication, and social media is ruled by Gemini because it's all about bite-sized chunks of information flying about, many conflicting ideas, fake news, information wars. This is all to do with the sign of Gemini, because it's about giving and receiving information without too much thought or care for where it's going or what's happening to it, or whether it's actually ethical. So the moon conjuncting the North Node in Gemini is asking us to look at how we share information, how we take information on board. Do we use discernment? Do we just share randomly without thinking? Or do we really think about what will happen if I share this? Is this for the highest good if I share this? And it's about sharing information in the highest way. So thinking about the ethical ramifications. In a few hours, the moon will be moving into the sign of Cancer, which is the moon's own sign. This is a time when people are likely to come more into their hearts and into the feeling and emotional realms. So communications will have more of an emotional quality to them, and people are more likely to get triggered as well because sensitivities are high. Now on Wednesday, the moon will come into opposition with Pluto and then into opposition with Jupiter. When the moon opposes Pluto, this brings the shadow into focus. So it confronts you with your own shadow, and that can sometimes be in the form of another person who's somewhat controlling or difficult or makes a problem for you, because when we don't own our own oppositions and our own shadow, we meet them in the form of other people or circumstances. So it could be some kind of situation that makes you feel out of control. So just be aware of that, and it's an amazing time to do your shadow work, do your inner work, and look at whatever it is you're not accepting or integrating into yourself. So own your power, own your shadow, and become more and more integrated and self-aware. And then the moon will come into opposition with Jupiter, which can have the effect of magnifying things, because the moon in Cancer opposite Jupiter, it can magnify emotions. So it could be that things get blown out of proportion in your communications, so just be aware of that. And then the moon will come into opposition with Saturn, which again could bring difficulties into focus. So problems, obstacles, things that you need to take care of, these could just come into focus for you to deal with. So on Wednesday there will be a few difficult aspects. And then as we come into Thursday, the moon moves into Leo, which is a much lighter, more outgoing energy. And moving into Friday, which is May Day, which is of course the festival of Beltane, the fire festival of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. The energies are rising, the sap is rising, the sexual energy is rising, and this is traditionally a fire festival. So I don't know how many people will be able to get to a fire festival. Maybe some people can have a fire in their garden, the shamans with a fire pit. They'll be celebrating for all of us. So we can really tune into that fire energy and that new life. And so the moon will be in Leo on May Day, and also there'll be a moon-Mars opposition and a moon-Venus sextile. So that's quite a fiery combination of planets and elements with the male and female energies. There'll be some dynamic energies happening on Beltane on May Day. And this is a great time to ignite the spark in you and tune into the fire element and really connect with your soul, connect with the spark of the divine within you, within your heart, and connect with your divine purpose and what you're here to bring. And it gives you the energy to do that, because energies are growing and building at this time of year. So that's Friday, that's Beltane, and then we'll be moving through into the weekend when the moon will move into Virgo on Sunday. So, and then of course the following week we'll have the full moon in Scorpio, which is the festival of Wesak. So we're leading up towards this full moon. From the new moon in Taurus to the full moon in Scorpio, this is a growing and building of energies, and it's a very sacred time because the sun in Taurus is all about divine embodiment. You're embodying your soul self in your body on the earth, and the full moon in Scorpio will illuminate the wisdom and the insights and all the magical alchemy that you have embodied. So spiritual practice is very important. Remember to do your practices, your meditation, and it's actually more powerful at this time. So have an amazing week. Blessings.